still holding on page 74b, Daf Ein Bet, Daf Ein Daled, Sai Amud Bet. And we're going to conclude today this part. Yesterday we started to explain a little bit the process, how the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, creates the Ruach. And we went through a whole order, how it happens, and specifically how the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, is forming the Ruach and then putting it straightly into the body. This is in very general what we did yesterday. No point of really repeating every little detail. And if you missed yesterday, then all the lectures are recorded. You can go online and see it and catch up. And just so you know, an important detail, the lectures online, it also will say the date of the class. So if you missed a class, you can always go to the reference of the date and see what you missed. So I know it's maybe a few hours too late, but we still want to dedicate the class to Miriam Leah Bat Yosef HaKohen. Right? It's already 2 hours after the birthday, right? But we celebrate 3 days.
Hey, you're just starting now?
Yeah.
Look at that timing.
We're waiting for you.
Hey.
So the world made us wait. But you know what they say, all good things come to those who wait. So Bezrat Hashem, we're gonna dedicate it to Miriam Leah Bat Yosef HaKohen. She has her birthday today. Should have Arichut Yamim, long life. Full of... it's just the birthday. Okay, so she should have Chayei Netzach. Arichut Yamim is also in the world above. Good life and Nachat, and Bezrat Hashem, she should have a lot of Nachat from her kids and grandkids and only good things. Many happy candles. Tov. So, see, it's appropriate because we're talking about the Nefesh and the Ruach and the worlds above. So the Nefesh and the Ruach, they still have a connection to the world. So, Bemet, no point of wasting too much time on everything that we did yesterday, but we literally explained in a very short version how the Kadosh Baruch Hu creates the Ruach like a manufacturer, literally like a factory of creating a Ruach. And again, the Ruach is the second to the lowest level of the soul. The soul is divided in general into 5 levels. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechidah, which we mentioned that many times. It's important to know that each one of these levels is built from another 5 levels. And each one of those levels is built for another 5 levels. So in general, we know about 5 levels of the soul, but really there's 125 levels to the soul, which the lowest of all will be Nefesh, the Nefesh, the Nefesh, and the highest will be Yechidah Sheba Yechidah Sheba Yechidah. But we're not, this is not what we're going to focus on now, rather on the fact that the Nefesh and the Ruach is a creation, is literally a creation, versus the Yechidah, that's mamash part of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. We started learning today from the teachings of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak from Bardichov, a beautiful discourse that if you didn't join us today, then you'll find that online too. But short but to the point explanation how there is in each and every one of us this little spark. A spark you can call it, or a component, but nevertheless it's called Ein. And Ein is the piece that is the root, so to say, of the Neshama, what produces all the energy, all the koach and the chayut, the power, the life force. So it's important that we know all these levels of the soul and how they're combined with each other, what's their purpose, in order not to just carry fancy information, rather to know what I need to do to nourish or to rectify each part. So that's why we're learning that. So again, we just learned very briefly how the Ruach was created. We finished by saying how the Ruach originates from the 6 Sfirot. Each Sfira is corresponding to one of the four elements that creates the world physically and spiritually. Each sphera will create, or I wouldn't say create, rather will reflect a certain color. So we mentioned Chesed is specifically will reflect the color white, and Gvura is red. Tiferet, we said, it will be a whole spectrum of colors, and each and every one of these elements and part of the Sfirot, and the Ruach is, so to say, going through the funnel, is also going through one of the sides of the chariot, which is either the face of a lion, face of an eagle, face of a ox, and the face of a man. So that's how we mentioned, and of course each and every one of them, how it's corresponding to the nefesh itself. Now we're continuing. We're in Daf 74, page 74b, Daf Ayin Daled Amud Bet. After, I forgot to mention one more thing, that we said that after the Ruach already is all the way down, specifically to the world of Malchut, then the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, folds it and puts it in the mouth of the person, and place it into the body. And we finish by saying Kol Diuknin Mistaklan Legabe, and all the shapes, because we mentioned how the Ruach gets like forms and shapes. Then once it's pushed into the body, then the face, so to say, comes out and gets the shape of a face. Look in an ultrasound or in any type of a way that to show the embryo developing in the stomach. So it has a head and these little pokey black things, and the hand like a little chupchikim are like coming out like a fingers. But you see that for many weeks, the face doesn't have a form. It looks like a head. And you see a little bit like here, like a nose, and these two dots. Only after a certain while, the face starts to form, but it takes a long time till so to say, the face forms. The shape is there, but not every line and the nose, and specifically those details. And also when you see a baby that is born, the baby has the features, but it's not final features, and the face changes a lot. I mean, it's more or less the same idea. But as we mentioned, only at the age of 13, that's when the Ruach comes in, so it really pushes the features out. The Ruach only comes into the body in 13 and 12 for a girl. The Nefesh is coming when the baby is born, and not even in conception. It takes 40 days, there's nothing there. The Nefesh only comes in, the part of the Nefesh only comes in after 40 days. That's why in the first 40 days, if there's an abortion, chas v'shalom, or a miscarriage, then even lehalacha, this is not considered like it was even a child. Even if it's a firstborn, then it wouldn't be for example, for pidyon ben. If it's a boy and after that there's a miscarriage or some type of the pregnancy stops, this is the firstborn, it's a boy, even for pidyon ben. But the first 40 days is nothing there. After 40 days, the nefesh starts penetrating into the body, but really the nefesh goes into the body in the time of birth. And the ruach will come into the body when the child and the girl is 12 and the boy is 13, and the neshama only in the age of 20. That's why we see even lahalacha, up until 13, you're not obligated in mitzvot. And not only that you're not obligated in mitzvot, even if you do a sin, you're not carrying that sin. The sin goes on the father, that poor father. And then, up until the age of 20, if the way it works is that the person is not obligated in the mitzvot lo ta'aseh till the age of 20. Once the person becomes 20 in a day, if they didn't do tshuva to backtrack, to retroactively fix those sins, then it will, so to say, add it to the balance right away, from 13 to 20. But if the teenager did tshuva or didn't do any sins, then so to say from 20, they're kind of having a clean slate. But if they don't do tshuva, it would retroactively activate the averot, the sins, for the last 7 years or 8 years. For a girl, 8 years, a boy is 7 years. But nevertheless, the neshama only gets into the body in the age of 20. Then there's different ways how the sfirot come in. It's much more complicated.
I understood
But,
the
no,
house of
no.
the house of emotions. So does it mean that a child doesn't exhibit those
Um,
emotions at so far?
It's much more complex because the ruach is built from different components, and the nefesh is built from different components. So the final, so to say, the final part that goes in. Technically, when the child is born, all the pieces of the neshama are already there, but not the entire thing. Even, for example, we know that for a boy, the neshama really only goes into the body and the brit. So that contradicts. What do you mean? You just say, tell me the age of 20. So it's much more complex than that. It's not that the neshama is just like one little thing that you place into the body. The stage is how the neshama goes in, which parts of the neshama. That's why I said before that from the 125 levels, I mean, we're referring to very general to some of the levels, but there's from the breakdown of each and every one of these 125 levels, then it goes into gradually into the body. It depends on many different things. So that's why better now it's going to be way too long to explain it. Bezrat Hashem, I mean, there's different places in the Zohar. That's what we're doing now. We're not learning literally like a whole parasha. We're just taking these little ma'amarim because we're very limited with time. An hour a day is nothing, and not even scratching. You see, we're barely even scratching a few lines. So, I mean, I have a few ma'amarim lined up to us for the next classes, but there's different topics that that we can think about, and then we'll pull out the source from the Zohar and go through it, and it gives much more explanations. I mean, the next thing I want to do, just because it's in the same parasha, is all the mystical parts of the 3 meals of Shabbat. Which meal corresponds to what part of the body? For the neshama, what would be the rectification? How it's corresponding to the worlds above? It's not just sitting and putting stuff in your mouth. So that's very important. And the next one, since it's the next parasha, our parasha Mishpatim, then I think the most appropriate will be to learn a little about the reincarnations, which this is the source in the Zohar, that anything has to do with the more lives and how the neshama is being, so to say, judged or decided which part the neshama will do a gilgul, which part the neshama will have to go through Gehenom, how much, how long. It's very interesting to know that, even though it's very, very long. I don't know if we'll do the whole thing, but to get an idea why and who decides the neshama will get what type of reincarnation. So, and anyways, there's a lot of beautiful topics in the Zohar that I already made kind of a list of different things. So, but that's one of the things that we can definitely learn, how the soul, so to say, gets dressed into the body. And don't forget also that sometimes the soul can come damaged from the sins of the parents, and it's not going to sit well in the body. And that will cause different sicknesses in the child, or different disorders, because the neshama comes with a, so to say, a defect that the parents put on that. It can be because the parents were together, had marital relations before they were married. It can be that it was done b'chnal out of marriage, and all many different things. I mean, how many kids are in this world that they didn't come in a kosher way? And that will put a certain blemish on the neshama that will affect the child severely. Then the child will be an adult at some point, and the child, that individual, will have to deal with certain blemishes, because the conception, how do you say? Conception is not done in the right way, and that will, so to say, put dents on the neshama that will prevent from parts of the neshama to actually going into the body. That's why it will cause different deficiencies and disorders, and it's much more complex than that. To some extent, it's not so important. The important is just make sure that when you trying to bring a child to the world, do it right. Don't, I know it sounds maybe a little bit extreme, but a few minutes of something can cause a headache for 40 years, or to destroy some person's life. So, have to, like they have these stickers, drink responsibly. So also procreate responsibly, because that can cause serious damages to the child that later on becomes an adult, and the adult has a lot of issues. So there's different books, not specifically the Zohar, that is actually talking about it. And but nevertheless, let's move a little bit on so we can at least finish this. We started late. We're not going to do much. We're just going to continue. So the neshama goes into the ruach, goes into the body, and then the ruach will press against the face, so to say, and the face will come out based on the details of the ruach, which means we get our shape according to the ruach, specifically in the face. Now we want to see with up until now, by the way, we talked mainly about the face. We didn't talk anything about the hands, but the ruach corresponds. The ruach corresponds more to the face, and the nefesh will be the hands. So we'll do just a little bit about the hands. Now he continues. When he says he, it means Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. After the person got his ruach and all the powers and the forces of the ruach, ityashev hau rucha behau afra v'itlabash beh. The ruach gets dressed into the element of afar, of earth, and this element, the nefesh, is mainly compiled at this point from the element of afar. And why? Because the nefesh specifically comes from the sphira of malchut. And malchut is the foundation, so to say, the bchina of the yesod of the entire earth in the world. All the dirt, the earth, comes specifically from the sphira of malchut, but from the yesod of malchut. Because we mentioned that every sphira will be built from all the same sphirot. So you'll have in the world, in the sphira of malchut, you'll have chokhmah and bina and dat and so forth. Like when we count in Sfirat Omer, so we say we have Chesed Sheba Malchut, Gvura Sheba Malchut, Tiferet Sheba Malchut. The sand, which the element originates in the Yesod of Malchut, when that manifests into the world, all the afar, I don't know the right word to say sand, rather the earth, it comes specifically from there. And that's where the nefesh comes. So the majority at this point of the main part of the nefesh is the element of afar. And the ruach, so to say, gets dressed in it. It parks in it.
I think it's dust in English.
Dust? Yeah, but dust is like dust. You dust the... I know, that's why I don't like saying the word dust. I know the translation of afar is dust, but I right away imagine dust on the shelves. Yeah. And really, afar is the earth, is the sand of the earth.
Would that be more like dirt, like at a good farm or something?
Yeah, like dirt, yeah.
Like there's potential in good dirt.
Yeah. So really, I think the most closest translation will be dirt. And because the dirt is the part of the earth, not dirt from the word dirty. Not dirty. Right. Dirt, the actual land, the earth, the actually soil. Not I don't know to say soil. Dirt, I think, is the closest one to the...
Soil's good. Soil's good because...
soil will be more, I think, the adjective of the dirt. But doesn't matter. It's not so important.
Resembles afar, but it's still adama, but
yeah.
It's just not...
No, that's afar is not adama.
Right.
Afar is one thing, and adama is a different thing.
One
See the words?
right?
They're both, you can say it's like sand. But the adama is the actual the ground, and afar is the element, exactly.
The soil.
So soil. I think soil will be a better word. And also don't forget that we're talking here...
would refer to the ground itself.
Exactly.
The
What you're standing on.
of,
Exactly.
Which would be soil.
Soil. I would say for now, for us to stick with it, I would say soil. But we're constantly saying the word afar because it's relating to the element. And the element is called afar. And the afar can be, by the way, it's not necessarily, we're just learning that in the Gemara. We're talking about efer kira, about the ashes of burnt wood. Ashes of burnt wood, this is afar also. Because why? The wood, where's the wood coming from? The wood is coming from a tree. Where's the trees coming from? From the ground. So nevertheless, we're talking about this, the element of afar, and the shoresh, the root of the element of afar, specifically is in the sphira that is called Yesod of Malchut. And this is where the ruach gets dressed in. There will more explain what it means. כדין הוא עפר המחשחשה ונחת לטאטא. That nefesh that was, so to say, was loose in the world above, the nefesh couldn't really stand loose. I'm saying, like, sometimes something doesn't have something holding it. It's like flying around. And the nefesh can't stay still, so to say, because it needs a body. So the nefesh has to be dressed right away into a body. Remember I told you yesterday the ruach is like in a straitjacket in the body. The ruach is like stuck in the body. I personally think that, a lot of it is based on my own experience. I don't think it's the ruach and the nefesh are so comfortable in the body. That it's stuck in a body, it's like confined. So I can only tell you from my experience, from how I felt, it didn't feel comfortable. But nevertheless, we're talking here about the nefesh that was kind of loose in the world above. It can't stand still without a body. And it needs a physical body. So the nefesh is, so to say, placed down into this world and is placed into the body. V'chanash afra me'arba sitrin de alma. Now what the Kadosh Baruch Hu does, the Kadosh Baruch Hu takes a soil from all four corners of the world. That's how we know that when Adam was created, the Kadosh Baruch Hu collected sand from all four corners of the world. The pshat here is that wherever you're going to bury the human being, the soil will absorb the human being, will take it. But the Ramak explains it's a little bit different. It's not that Hashem took a tractor now and took a little bit of sand from here and a little bit of sand from here and a little bit of sand from here. It says sand from all corners of the world. The Ramak explains that he says shehichnis otam sheyichlelu klolam be'esod ha'afar. The Kadosh Baruch Hu took all four elements of the world and placed it into the element in afar, which means that the main element of our physical body is afar, is the dirt, is the sand. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu took all four elements and, so to say, placed it into the element of afar, all will be included at the same time. Then once the Kadosh Baruch Hu took the elements, took the ruach, took the nefesh, made, and that's what caused the shape of the face. And not only the shape of the face, also the entire body got its shape. So the face is formed specifically from the ruach, and the nefesh is what's forming the body. Many times I said that why our body looks like our body, because the nefesh is the shape, and the body is just skin. It's skin and flesh that is placed on it, and then the skin, so to say, is stretched around the body. So the nefesh is the one who has all the shape. If I have long fingers, then it means my nefesh, the spiritual part of it, has long fingers, and there's a reason for that. And if my body is tall or small or big or wide, it's all coming from the nefesh. It's not because a person is overweight, or I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the structure of the nefesh. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu takes the ruach, takes the nefesh, puts them all together, takes the elements all together like making a cake. And then once he puts it together and put it in the body, that's when the body, so to say, gets the shape. And not only the shape, also the structure of the face, the bones, the eyes, and so forth. And specifically, the body of the human being is a replica of the man from the world above, what's called Adam Elyon. Because there is a man in the world above, the shape of a man in the world above. That's why Adam is called Adam. And there's one way of explaining it, because he came from the Adama. He came from the earth. And Adam is Aleph Daled Mem. Adama is Aleph Daled Mem Hey. They took the Hey. Hey is the last Hey of the name of Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is coming from the world of Malchut. And the combination of the Malchut and the Adama and the element of Afar, what we just learned, creates a man. And then you have Adam, because he came from Adama. But there's another way of seeing it, that Adam is called Adam because it says Adameh La'elyon. I would look like the man above, the portrait, so to say, of the human, the being that is called Adam in the world above. I mean, above the world of Atzilut, there's another world. It's called Adam Kadmon. It's the Kadmon. That's not like the prehistoric. That's how it sounds in Hebrew, Kadmon, because in Hebrew, in Israeli Hebrew, the caveman is called Adam Kadmoni, like a caveman, the one who lived 5 billion years ago. But there's no such a thing. Rather, the Adam Kadmon is the Adam that Kadmon, it preceded this world. And I think one of the things that we should learn, Maybe we should do one class, I don't know, specifically in the Zohar, that we take a lot of the terms that we're talking about and breaking them down and explaining what it is. Because we're throwing a lot of terms constantly, and if you don't know what the term means, then you lose 90% of what we're learning. We're mentioning the world of Atzilut, the world of Adam Kadmon, Arich Anpin, Zeir Anpin, all these terms, Olam HaTov, Olam HaTikun. It's very nice terms, but if I don't know what it means, then I'm missing the point. We talk about so many times about the 7 kings. Who are these 7 kings? Everybody has questions. Who are they? Where did they live? How did they look? What did they do? How did they die? Where did they die? Is it in this world? Is it in that world? What is it? So I definitely think we should do a term class. What are all these terms? But nevertheless, there is a Adam in the world above. It's called Adam Elyon. Elyon means supreme or above. So the Nefesh is a replica of the Adam Elyon, and that's where the body gets this image. Ve'ahu rucha it tamar begolego. This ruach that we just went through it gets dressed into the nefesh, perfect fit, like a tailor cut, goes into the nefesh, and now the ruach is invisible. You don't see the ruach anymore. Now you see the nefesh. But the ruach is a higher level, and it gets dressed in perfectly, literally like a custom made. And it says, Ve'ahu ruach ita tamar bego. The ruach, so to say, gets concealed. You don't see the ruach. And not only that, it gets dressed into the nefesh, and in a very inner way that it's completely filling it in from the inside. Dahainu betoch hanefesh betoch haguf. So you have a body, you see my body, and in the body is a nefesh. That the nefesh is, so to say, the structure of the body. The body is just a cover. And in the nefesh is the exact same mold, and that's the ruach, and it's, so to say, like covered by the nefesh completely, and it's hiding there. And that dirt, that soil that was collected from all the 4 corners of the world, which is basically referring to the 4 elements of the world, wants to say that the power, the spiritual power of these 4 elements, because there's the element of fire, I can see the fire, it can burn, it consumes, it warms, it cooks, but there's a spiritual element to it. So there's a physical fire and a spiritual fire, physical water, spiritual water, and so forth. So the power, the spiritual power of the 4 elements is this power that is, the word in Hebrew is chiyuni, means it's a must. That is the power that puts together the components of the body. Without that power, the body will right away disintegrate in one shot. It's like the glue that puts all the pieces together. In English, there's the terms. I mean, I don't even know how to even say the terms here, because it says the term in Hebrew is hakoach haruchani hachiyuni hama'amid et harkavat haguf. So the body is built from bones and tendons and flesh and veins, skin, and so forth, and organs. What's holding the body if I'm not like melting right away like a snowman on a hot day? What? There's a certain power, a certain koach ruchani, a certain spiritual power. This is called the ruach, and the ruach is, so to say, glued the whole thing together. Remove the ruach now, the person, so to say, will melt. Not physically melting, but the ruach is the spiritual power. Batash legabe nefesh kelila berucha. Now the Kadosh Baruch Hu takes the nefesh. Remember yesterday we mentioned how Hashem, so to say, hits the ruach like a craftsman or a person that works and bangs on the metal. Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, bangs on the nefesh, and he connects the ruach and the nefesh together. And the word that he uses is that he enlightens the nefesh like a spark. But right, basically what he's doing is, so to say, connecting the nefesh and the ruach together. And by doing that, ve'ahu nefesh ihu yesoda leovadei gufa. Now, the nefesh becomes the foundation and the structure of the body, which means everything that you see on the outside is just like the HTML of the code. and I'll go figure out to say that to a person who doesn't know what I'm talking about. So the nefesh is literally the foundation of everything. And the body, the actual body, is literally a cover that whatever the nefesh will do, that's what happens to the body. Here, basically, what is important for us to understand right now is that I'm looking at a body and I see the body, I think this is the existence. This is not. It's like a cover. I mean, you know programming. It's the body's an HTML. That's what it is. It's just a design that is dressed over the nefesh. The body is, so to say, irrelevant. It's nothing. The body has no power, no ability, no nothing. It's a tool. The nefesh is dressed into the entire body. When the nefesh decides to go like this, then the body will go like that. Now, of course, it's the neshama that is operating. We didn't even get to the neshama. The neshama is the driver. But the neshama is too holy to operate in a body. So the neshama will give orders, so to say, and this is a completely different topic now, but the neshama will give an order through the hierarchy of the soul, and then the nefesh is the operating system. The nefesh is what's going to make the body move. You can't move without a nefesh. You know, when the person dies, the nefesh is out of the body. Then no nefesh, dead body. The body is just clay. It's just flesh and bones. Here what he's saying is that the ruach gets dressed into the nefesh. Now Hashem goes like this and he puts them together. Now the nefesh and the ruach are, so to say, inseparable. They're like, it's like taking two pieces of wood and you glue them, you nail them, you screw it, and that's it. Now these two pieces of wood are inseparable. In order to take them apart, you have to damage it. To take tools and start banging and breaking it. So same idea. So in this part, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, is locking the nefesh and the ruach together. It's not that they're inseparable, but they're literally together. Like when you build something, you'll see. I mean, when I was young, I used to have all these remote control planes and cars, and I used to build them myself. So you build like a structure. It's called a skeleton, a sheled. And on this you build another part, and then you start covering. And then on the top comes the nice design with the colors and the stickers, and then you make it look nice. That's the body. But if hypothetically you would remove the body for 1 second, you will still see the nefesh and it will look exactly like the body, just a little bit more sophisticated, probably transparent, not like the body, that the body is physical. It can be transparent. The nefesh will be transparent. If you would have some type of vision to be able to look at the nefesh, you'll see through the nefesh. Exactly like sometimes they show you in different movies. We spoke about a couple of weeks ago the movie Ghost, if you remember. And even though it's a 30-year-old movie, even then the effects were very, very good. And they show how, so to say, it's like the nefesh doesn't have an existence, so it goes through things. And it's trying to catch something, and the physical part, it goes through it. So the nefesh will be, if you would have to somehow define it, you would say the nefesh is transparent. But nevertheless, just continue a little bit, just so we can kind of get to our deadline. And then we'll do whatever questions we can. Nevertheless, we said back, this nefesh becomes the foundation, the yesod, to all the actions of the body. You know how you can also relate to it? The nefesh is like a robot. So like Terminator. Remember Terminator? The nefesh, so to say, is the robot part. And then on top of it has a skin and flesh. That's it. So this would be, so to say, the relations. But he says the nefesh becomes the foundation. Kefum ovadin de'au nefesh begufa, ha'chitcha ze b'mashcha levar. Every action that the person will do, whatever the nefesh will do in the human body, whether it's a good action or bad action, then the mark will show on the body. Whatever the nefesh does, and it will show from the outside. So the nefesh can do something positive, can do a mitzvah, and it will show right away the mark on the outside. The nefesh will do something negative, will lie and cheat or steal, it will show on the body too. So certain mekubalim were able to look at the person and say right away what you did. Right away. You don't have to explain too much. You can't lie. They say, I see you did this today, I see you did that today. Because there's a siman, mark on the body coming from the inside. Now he continues in explaining. We'll get back to in a second. That's what we're going to need to conclude, is how the body gets an impression from the nefesh. Literally, it's all about the nefesh. Now we'll just do another part, then we'll summarize it. Now he continues, says, Ruach hada ittamar lego. Now this ruach is, so to say, hidden in the nefesh. Ve'ahu itchaze levar. And the pnimiyut of the human, which is the ruach, is going to show outside through the nefesh. So to say, the ruach will press against the nefesh, that will press against the body, and then all the marks, the lines, the structure, then so to say, the person is inflated now. And you see the structure of everything. And why? Salik v'nachi tuvatash be'anpoi ve'achzei diuknin v'ushimin. Now what happens is, the power, so to say, if you take now a piece of metal, and or like a car, how do you call a metal of the car? Not a frame, like the door is no the
Fender.
what?
Fender?
Yeah, but what's the material of the fender?
Right?
It's not really a metal. It's like a
Fiberglass.
no fiberglass. It's like in Hebrew it's called pach. Like let's say a door of the car. It's not. There's a frame that is metal, like you said, the chassis. This is like for the actual car, but the side of the door and the fenders.
Panels.
Hard aluminum.
Yeah. But what the material? Hard aluminum? What? No, the pach. Tin, right? In Hebrew it's called pach. It's because you give a punch in it, it goes in. But if you bang from the other side, you fix it. I'm not talking about the chassis right now, the actual frame, what the car is wrapped around. So the I would call it tin. I think in Hebrew it's called pach. Okay. Now take a hammer or whatever it is and smash it into the door of the car. So the paint will crack. Go to a body shop. He will start banging from the inside. If he knows what he's doing, he will push it back out. Very simple. And you know, the more now, there's machines that are very precise. I have a friend, that's his business. He has this precise machine that even like a little dent, he kind of knocks on it and it pops out. But nevertheless, take now whatever, punch the door of the car or kick it, you will get a dent all the way in. Same idea here is that whatever the ruach will do, it's like getting a dent from the inside, so it goes onto the outside. That's just imagine. I'm just trying to make it in a vision. So you'll take a piece of tin, poke it from the inside, from the outside you'll have a bump, and you'll see from the outside what came from the inside. You know, I remember a few years, about, 20, 25 years ago, if you remember, the Lubavitcher Rebbe was in a hospital. I think he had a stroke or a heart attack. And when he was driven back from the hospital, there was an assassination attempt in the Brooklyn Bridge. Excuse me? Yeah. And instead of hitting the Rebbe, a boy, Halberstam, got murdered. Yeah.
Wait, what?
There was an assassination attempt
On the Rebbe?
on the Rebbe, on the Brooklyn Bridge, and there was probably like a convoy of cars, and a kid got killed instead, Halberstam. I think he was 10 or 11, and somebody came and shot the car, and tried to assassinate the Lubavitcher Rebbe. How did they catch the killers? Because they came with their car to the auto shop, and happened to be that the auto shop guy was an Israeli, an ex-military guy, who looked at the holes, and he right away figured out that the bullets came from the inside out, not from the outside in. And you need to be a professional to see. Any normal person will see holes in the windshield, will say, okay, holes. You know, and anybody can come and say, listen, I don't know, somebody did that. But when he looked at it, he right away recognized that the bullets came from in the car. So somebody was sitting in the car and shot out, knowing that the bullet will go through the window into the target. And of course he reported them to the police, and then they tied everything up, and that's how they caught them. But basically, why am I saying that? Because when something comes from this direction, from the outside in, then it will have a certain pattern how it's penetrating from the outside to the inside. But if you, so to say, shoot something from the inside, take now a rock, smash it against the window. That will be much, much harder. But how would you know? You come now and you see a smashed window. How do you know from which direction the window was smashed?
Where the glass is on the floor.
Exactly, where the glass is on the floor and where the rock is. If the rock is here, obviously it came from the outside. If the rock is outside, it came from the inside. And if it was coming from the inside, the glass will be out, and vice versa. Same idea here. Whatever happens inside, it like pushes out. So whatever the ruach that is pressing against the nefesh will do, it will press out against the body. Now it's not going to be something so big. It will cause a line. Or it will cause a little dent. Or something like that. So you have lines on the forehead, then obviously something's going on from the inside. It's just showing on the face. And then you have lines on the hand. Obviously something going from the inside and it's showing on the outside. That's in general the idea. So, we said, let's go back one line. Salik v'nachit uvatash be'anpoi ve'achzei duknin urshimin. Now the power that is, so to say, hits from the inside of the human, then it starts showing shapes and, so to say, sketches on the outside. Batash b'mitzche achzei duknin urshimin. What it happens, that it hits it in such a way that it will come out in the forehead. So look how many lines is on the forehead. It's not because of age. I told you already, the lines is not the age. It's nothing to do with the age. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, look, I'm aging." No, I just have a lot of sins. So nothing to do with your aging. But you look in the mirror. Oh my gosh, I need to do a lot of big tshuva here. But nevertheless, so it, so to say, hits from the inside and it starts getting shapes. It's called shapes. It's not that you start seeing triangles, but it's called a shape and what's called reshimot. Reshimin is a sketch. I don't know if you ever noticed, take now a pad of papers and write real strong, and the next 3, 4, 5 pages underneath will have the sketch on it. Impression. Imprint, impression. Same idea. It's the same exact idea. Batash be'enoi ve'achaz eduknin urshimin. Then it hits in the eyes, so that it comes out in the eyes. And then it will, everywhere it will hit, it will come out. So mainly where it will hit is on the face, because that's the main part of the ruach. The ruach will form the face. So it's not going to come out in the arm or in the shoulder. So most of the hits from the inside, these dents, are going to come out on the face. So it will start forming the line and all the cracks and the line and the sketches and so forth. And then the same thing will hit in the eyes. So the eyes, it will start affecting the eyes. We spent a class and a half just explaining another thing about the foreheads and the hair. We didn't even get to the eyes, and we're skipping the eyes. But he's doing the exact same thing like he did with the forehead. The eyes that are going like this, and the dots in the pupil, and the pupil is like this, and the lines are like that. And so he's basically saying in short words, it hits from the inside on the eye, so it will show outside on the eye. A person can look at somebody's eyes and know everything about that person. So now we continue. So it again hits through the eyes, it will show outside. Now all these 3 places on the face, and the 3 places are the face, the forehead, and the eyes. These are the 3 places where the power of the ruach will press out, so to say. Hado dichtiv hakarat panehem, as it says in the book of Yeshaya. There's in chapter 3, it says a verse. And the verse says, Hakarat penhem antabam. The impression of the face is like, so to say, the answer of the question. So you look at the face, this will tell you what's going on from the inside. Now we'll do just one more part so we can finish. Then if there's any questions, we'll do the questions. And then he continues, Antabam, it's going to, whatever you see on the face is the testimony of the inside. The face is testimonying from the inside. That's why face in Hebrew is called panim, because panim comes from the word pnim, from the inside. So you can look at the face. If you know what to read, you'll know everything about the person, his mood, his talents, his lying, his not lying, his sins, every little thing. The right individual, like we're referring to specifically here, it was Moshe Rabbeinu, would look in the face. Instead of a job interview, Just look at the face. Okay, you're hired. Next. Now he continues and says, Butzina ditmashech minemedidu. Now this candle, we mentioned that the ruach is like a candle. The candle that is, so to say, the sphera of Malchut, that from that sphera comes a certain power, and this power is the power, so to say, of the measurement. Dechad chuta yeroka, and what happens is like a line, a green thread. Chuta is a chut, a thread. A very long green thread goes and surrounds the world. And this thread, shalhovta de toho. This is the fire from the world of Toho. That's why I said that we have to learn a little bit about the terms, what it means, the world of Toho. But nevertheless, this green line that he's talking about, and you have to try to go into the mind frame of the author. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is sitting in the cave, making a barbecue or something. That's my addition. And he has his visions. And he sees a green line going around the world. So he writes down. Not everything is that we really understand what he's talking about. But he's referring to this green thread that goes around the world. And that's the fire, the flame, specifically of the fire of the world of Toho. Batash bidoy bishata devarnash naim. Now comes the Malchut, specifically when the person is sleeping at night. And you know what the Malchut does? Gives a high five to the hand, so to say. Now it gives an impression on the hand. This is specifically when the person is sleeping. And this power, specifically from the world of Malchut, it writes the lines and the shapes on the hand. He says specifically, the way that he says it's reshimin. Reshimin is like the writing, so to say, and sirtutin is the sketches. So, you take a pencil, you start going like this, it's like the sketches. And what does he do? He makes the impression, so to say, on the hands. And everything that you see on the hand, specifically, this is coming from the power of the sphere of Malchut. Uchfum ovadin devarnash hachit rashim. And according to the actions of the human being, that's what's going to be the impressions on the hand. Meaning that at the end of the night, you go up to Shamayim with your report, and they start writing down. It's like putting in a database. And once they put it into the database, they press enter, then it will show on the hand. It's like your receipt. Wake up in the morning, ooh. So this is technically what happens. We explained so many different times in what really happens when we go to sleep. Many things happen when we go to sleep, but one of them is, I always say it in a metaphorical way, but the soul goes up to Shamayim, stands in line, like in Bank Discount, stand there for a long time. Then once it gets to the clerk says, okay, what's your name? Moshe Zuchmin. Social Security, I don't have one. And starts interviewing the neshama. What'd you do today? I woke up at 7:03. 7:03? Isn't the minyan starting at 6:45? Yeah, I was very tired. Why were you tired? Last night I was on Facebook till 3 o'clock in the morning. So it starts interviewing the neshama, and the neshama writes a log. Every second what I did. At 7:02, I thought bad about that person. 7:04, I cursed in my heart that person. 7:05, I imagine doing this and this to that person. All the report. I'm talking about my thoughts right now, not on the action. The soul is writing a diary, an entire diary, every little thing what he did that day. That after 120 years, when they call the soul into the heavenly court, they say, Habibi, it's your handwriting. No, you wrote it. You testified against yourself what you wrote. The only way to do it is if you do tshuva, you start erasing it. But if you didn't do tshuva, there's going to be a very big log book, and they're going to come to you, put it on the table. Okay, Mr. Anava, let's see what you did here. October 22nd at 7:02 in the morning. What was that thought you had? Huh? No, it wasn't me. It wasn't you? Pull out the cameras, Vaksha. Please put it on the screen. No, it's okay. No, don't need to put it on the screen. No, you asked, we'll put it on the screen. So the soul goes up and writes a journal. And at the end, it says, sign here. Sign. So the signature is on your hand. You know how they used to sign in the olden days? It was all on the hand. Why do you think they take fingerprints? Where do you think the FBI got that? because the signature is on my hand. You can't fool here. You can't replica this, and you can't change it. It's like you doomed with your own seal. So specifically at night, the power coming from the world of Malchut will come and press against the hand, and whatever you did, all your actions is on your hand. So you can't come and say, "Oh no, it wasn't me." It was Napoleon was like this. He's like, "Don't look at my hands." Ve'ilen atvan mithapchan mitata le'ela. All the actions that the person does is marked on the hand, and these letters, remember we talked about the 5 letters, Zayin, Hey, Samech, Pei, and Reish, when we talked about and they changing the combinations constantly, then these letters will change order based on the sign on the hand. And these are hinted on marks on the body, which means that the right individual that knows this chokhmah can look in the body, show me, and look for the letters. And sometimes you can see letters on your hands. And the person, there are very few rare people that know how to look for it, they would look for body parts, look where the letters are. If the Zayin is here, if the Reish is here, if the Samech is here, look where the letters are. Now, there are books that actually will go into a lot of details, but we said we don't want to do that because it's going to confuse us. Nevertheless, the letters will change the order based on the behavior of the person, but with the combination of Reish, Zayin, Hey, Samech, and Pei. And then, of course, it will switch not only the orders, but the Pei can be a regular Pei, a soft end Pei, and so forth. And the people who really know, he says here, Chavrei Kshot, the people of truth, meaning that only a person that is really the epiphany of Emet can learn this Chokhmah and know it. But he's referring to the people who really serve Hashem be'emet. Lechol asher yikru be'emet. We say every day, Karov Hashem lechol korav, lechol asher yikru be'emet. Hashem is close to everyone who calls Him, but the ones who really call Him. Not really call Him, meaning that the foundation is Emet. There's no lie there. So these are individuals that know the Chokhmah of Emet. Birshimu b'de'atvan debutzina, in the sketches, so to say, of the letters of the sphere of Malchut. They know the inner powers of the Malchut, and they know how to see the, so to say, the impressions, the sketches of the letters, how they switch around the order. Man derakinda, and the person who knows how to put the letters together, and specifically in the certain order, rakim beshupele mashkana. He knows how to look specifically in the hand, and knows according to that. The secret, so to say, of what of this information that is hidden in the neshama. Kama de'at amar ukamti betachtiyot haaretz. Like these letters, the way they're organized, they tell everything for the person who actually knows everything that he needs to know about the neshama. Brichu brich shme le'alam ulel me'almin. He finalizes it by saying Baruch hu Baruch shmo, brichu brich shme, to ever and ever. Specifically, how amazing is the knowledge of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, how much information He places in something so unique like the neshama, that the neshama is holding the imprint of everything. Now here we're going to finalize here, because now he's going for 2 pages just really explaining every little detail of the eye, which it's not so important, especially that we're not going to start opening a business of reading eyes. But the point to at least conclude this part and to finalize it is that the ruach is dressed into the nefesh, and the nefesh is the part that's going to press against the body, and whatever happens on the inside, then it will show on the outside. A person does something good, it will show on the outside. A person does something bad, it will also show on the outside. Now sometimes we don't see exactly the folds on the creases on the forehead and the eyes. We don't see. But there is many people that they're sensitive. And if a person does something bad, you feel that energy. You feel something is not 100% there. But on the other hand, sometimes a person can be very, very, very special person. You say, wow, next to him I feel good energy coming from this there. So we call it an energy. But nevertheless, whatever we do from the inside, it radiates completely outside. The Arizal says that it radiates like to so far away, like a couple meters. And a person, his energy radiates around him. You walk around and it's affecting everybody around you. And sometimes where do you see that? You see a person coming into a certain room with a certain energy and the whole room gets affected by that person. Can be a person with a very good energy and suddenly is the star of the party. And sometimes one person comes in and a whole room, 50 people are feeling this energy. And some people, their energy is very, very powerful. If there's no dirt, spiritual dirt, then the energy will be very, very powerful. That's why sometimes you see a person, a speaker, will come into a room and 300 people, they're all like, they're inspired and excited. And because that person, the energy is very, very clean and very positive. The point to take practically from that is that you know that every action that I do, positive or negative, first of all, will press against the ruach and the nefesh and the body, will affect the body. So one can go to the little details by even saying, if you have a headache, that something is pressing from inside. You have a stomach ache, you can blame it on the food you ate. You can blame it on whatever you want. But it's something coming from inside. You are excited, happy, moody, upset, whatever it is. You can blame it on whatever you want. But really it's coming from the nefesh. And more than it's coming from the ruach. So even something as small as a headache, one can say, no, I have a headache because I didn't eat all day. Okay, but there's some days that you don't eat all day and you don't have a headache. All right? Or sometimes you can do something and you'll get a certain effect and sometimes not. Everything is interconnected to each other. But the point is that what I want to take practically from that is what's going on the outside is the indication on the inside. And if I'm very sad, then yes, I can find what to blame it on. I'll find to blame it on that something's happening in my home or the bank account is empty or whatever. There's always going to be what to blame it on. But really that sadness is coming from a deep place. It's not coming from my balance in my bank account. Because I can be very happy with a low balance in the bank account, or what we call it moods. The moods, they're different. They're coming from the inside of my existence, from my nefesh and my ruach. And it can be positive or negative. Nevertheless, there's much more we can say about that. We can literally go for hours just on that. I think we'll conclude here about the idea, mainly to remember and to understand that everything that's going to, so to say, originate from the inside will affect in many ways the outside, and I need to have from that an indication. So like I told you, we call it moods and stuff like that, and many other things, but that should also help me and allow me to understand more or less what's going on the inside. If I see that I'm too moody for too long, or sad, or upset, or depressed, or whatever, something's going on the inside. It's like an indication that the body is giving me. I had periods in my life that I didn't have anything, and I was more than happy than ever. Why? Because the inside was happy. The neshama is happy. The neshama is happy. You can be broke, you can be sued, you can be whatever. You don't care because the neshama is happy. You go way above the test, so to say, the challenge. You don't even consider the challenge as an issue. So we want to take from that this little teaching that my outside is a reflection from the inside. And of course the other way around. But I can take from that an indication. It can be from my health, from my mental health, from my spiritual and emotional status. And to take from that to kind of get an indication, where am I holding? If I'm holding in a good place and not such a good place, then it will, later on you can start to psychoanalyze it. And the point that we want to take to that is just to apply it practically. Is to not to ignore what the body is talking and not to ignore what the soul is talking. If the body is giving signs, it means that it's coming from the soul. If the soul is giving me signs, a lot of people say, how would I know? Well, just listen, the soul will talk to you. And if you're too occupied with the noise of the world, then you're not going to hear what the soul has to tell you. So that's why we do different forms of meditation, whether it's Itbodedut or Itbonenut or many other different forms. Why? So I can let the soul express itself. Now educators are starting to teach with kids. Listen more to the kids. Let them talk a little bit. It's true. If you know how to get some information out of the kid, you start hearing that the kid talks. If you're not going to allow it, the kid will stay quiet and not going to talk at all. And you're never going to know what's going on inside. And you think that they tell you, but they don't. It's actually a very unique way to be able to open the kids, that the kid will start talking. Same thing here. The neshama wants to talk to you. Let the neshama talk. Shut up for a little bit, and not physically. Calm down the body. Let the soul talk a little bit. The soul will tell you everything you need to know. All your problems, all your solutions, everything that bothers you, the soul will talk to you. The voices that you hear all day long in your head, 90% of them is just junk. There's all sorts of things that are triggering your system. But what's the whole point behind the Itbodedut? Itbodedut it's coming from the word bidud nefesh, isolate the nefesh. So it's not going to be distracted. Not by the phone, not by the people who's walking around, not by anything. So why? Now the system is calmed down. Now let the thoughts, your neshama, start come out, start telling you what you really need to concentrate on, what you want to work on, what you want to do. You just need to know how to have a good communication with the neshama. The neshama is going to tell you everything that you need to know. And the more you reach out to the neshama and nourish it, it will guide you exactly what you need to do, how you need to do it, where you need to go. And the point is to just understand that I just need to have a good communication with my neshama. It doesn't matter right now, the neshama, the ruach, the nefesh, and so forth. Zad Hashem should be successful in everything that we do. Should have a beautiful, restful Shabbat. Next week we'll continue from here. I know you have questions. Let's just say Kaddish. רבי חנניה בן הקשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.